Congratulations, Papa Bart, as we call you.
Well, I think this is very humbling for me. Extremely humbling that I feel like, well, I want to cry, but I'm not going to cry. So for that matter, I'm going to hold my tears. Praises and accolades have been heaped on me. But to me, I think the attributing my success and my being able to start a news organization and train the sets of news gathering in this country and maybe across the region is, like he said, was not started by me alone. I just came up with the idea because if you had allowed me a little bit to go back as how it started, is that I had been offered some work at the CNN Center in Atlanta after my training there. I worked there, I saw how CNN was working. I said, but we need something like this in Africa. We should start something where you have a team of dedicated reporters that you can deploy and they give you news. So when I came back, when I told them I don't want to stay in America, I want to come and work in Uganda and I want to be a correspondent in the Great Lakes region, they were surprised because most Ugandans and most Africans would just grab that opportunity to stay there. So I refused and came back. And when I got here, I just wanted to run a news organization. But of course, I didn't have a news channel. There were about 3 television stations. And of course, all those television stations that were there, the only one that was running news was Uganda Television. And the other one was another small television. And all of them had no serious news. So there was actually no news. And Lighthouse Television did not have news. So I went to them and told them, I want you to sell me 30 minutes every day, and I'm going to give you, sell to you my news. They said, but how can you sell news? I said, I'll sell you the news. They said, how much? Actually, one of the directors was Mr. Mutawaz, who was the former UCC director. They said, how much do you want to pay us? I said, I'll pay you 2 million shillings. They said, can you raise 2 million shillings? I said, yes, I will. I didn't have 2 million shillings. So I went to them and I said, okay, they have given you the chance, you plan. So I made them sign an agreement with me that whatever I'm going to show in the news, except pornographic materials, condoms and alcohol and cigarettes, the rest I was at liberty to put in whatever I want and advertise whatever I wanted. And I said, that's fine. So we signed an agreement. And then I started the news. The first day I put together a team of young people who knew how to gather news because I had understood the dynamics of gathering news, which I thought should be the ideal. So we put together a news team, and the first time we ran our news and it hit everybody and people would start looking at all Media Plus news on LTV. And you find people in shops waiting to see Media Plus news because only people would break the news at that time. So after 1 month, they told me they wanted their money, their 2 million shillings. I tell you, I had, I think, 1.2 million shillings in my life. I went and borrowed another 800. I went and handed it over to them. I told the people who are working with me, I said, we are going to make money. So we moved around. But one of the things that I created that was maybe a genius, something of sort, was that I told, because I knew news attracts a lot of advertisement. So I told them 3 minutes after the news and 3 minutes before the news shall be shared by both of us and shall be considered to have been attracted by the news, and we shall share it 50-50. So they signed the agreement and that's it. So everyone who saw the news wanted to advertise around the news and in the news. So in the news, that was my 100% shares, and the one that before the news were sharing it, and they were, at first we made some money, and of course then I paid my workers, then I opened 2 stations in across the country, in Gulu, everywhere. Then 2 months after, El Lighthouse, Celtel at that time, came and said, hey, this news is very good. And when I negotiated with them, I said, pay me 20 million shillings per month and I'll give you that news you advertise on it. They said, no problem. They started sponsoring it. Now I was making 2 million shillings, 20 million shillings from the advertisers of the Celtel. I was making another 20 million shillings from the small advertisers. I was getting money from the one which were advertising around the news. So I made a lot of money and it annoyed people. It annoyed a Lighthouse Television. They sought to cancel the contract. They said, no, we've got the contract. So we continued. And that's so we continued. And it became so, and more money was coming in because I was getting more. And then I opened more stations. And then, of course, we wanted now to bring the news across the East Africa sub-region. I wanted to sign a contract with KTN so that we can take our news, but they said they already had the news on their own. So we planned to have our own news channel that was going to beam across Africa. But unfortunately, digital technology had not advanced yet, and we needed masts, we needed whatever, these licenses and whatever, so we weren't able. So 2 years after, the contract was supposed to be 2 years. We finished the first year, the second year, I think there were 4 years. The fourth year they called me and said, now we know what we want to do. We don't want you to pay. We don't want to pay you. We don't want you to pay us. We want to pay you. Sell us the news. I said, give me $10,000 per month and I'll give you the news. They said, yes, we shall give it to you. We signed the contract and I bagged $10,000 every month. The first month, because we had a very good team of reporters who had also turned into marketers, because wherever they would go, they would market they would market our product. And then, of course, we marketed. We made more people. People we had marketed with were not comfortable working with being marketed at Lighthouse. They preferred dealing with us. So we said, okay, give us commission for bringing you what? For bringing you business. And so they accepted. But they were not very shrewd enough. They didn't make more money. The first month, they paid me $10,000. The second month, paid me $10,000. The third month, they came and said, they want to cancel the contract. I said, why? They said, because they are not making much more money like we are making. I said, well, that's not my problem. So the contract had a clause which said, either party could terminate the contract, giving the other 5 days notice. I had looked at it and I thought that wouldn't apply because I knew that they would be having advertisers and the advertisers would be on their necks. So calling off a contract 5 days would not apply. They went ahead and did it, and of course they cancelled the contract and we stopped. So we wanted to go take news, but of course we had met a lot of people who had moved around. All the news reporters you see that are very good and came from Media Plus. A long story. We continued. We started giving news to it. I started giving news to CNN, and we are making more money from CNN, and we still do. Say documentaries, CNN. But all at the same time, we even took up cable television, cable television, cable CTV. We also supplied them news. Yeah. But of course, because we ended up badly without TV, they took me to court. And the court thing was that I had called them terrorists. So they said I would be charged in courts of law for calling them terrorists. Now the terrorist word came, the terrorist allegations came that when we used to take videotapes, we didn't have digital technology where we could send it by internet or whatever. So what happened, that same evening when we were taking the news, we stopped suddenly. And then at the gate we were delivering the tape, I found the gate man who had a gun. So the gate man said, where are you going? I said, we have a contract with these people and we are delivering the news. He said, no, I've been told not for you not to go beyond. You should give me the tape today. I said, no, the contract said I should take the tape right in the studio. I said, no, get off the way. He cocked the gun and pointed it at me. And instilled terror. So I was disappointed. So in the evening, because the news was so popular, they came, people, all the television stations, radios came and interviewed me, asked me, said, what is happening about the LTV? We don't see the news. I told them, I said, you know what? And I said, I can't work with terrorists. And they went to court, took me to court. When we go to court, I said, I don't need a lawyer. I'm not going. I've never studied law, but I can. I know law is about English language, and I studied English at school. And I'm going to prove them. So we went to court. They had lined up lawyers. The judge was a gentleman called Justice Rugaizi. So we stood. They said, you don't have a lawyer? I said, no, I don't have a lawyer. I told the judge, I said, my lord, according to the constitution of this country, you, the judge, is obliged to guide me technically if I don't have a lawyer. So I seek you to guide me technically where I go. He said, no problem. So they started. The lawyer accused me of being calling them a terrorist, to defame their name. I said, it was my turn to now talk. I said, my lord, I don't have a lawyer. Like I said, but I just want to ask this man, if we have an arrangement with you and a good relationship, and I came to your gate, as I always come every day, and I found a man with a gun. I don't know whether he's a guard or whatever, but he has a gun, and he points a gun at you, and instills terror in you. What do you say he has done to you? I just want one word. The lawyer fumbled. He said, I said, just one word, my lord. He said, he has terrorized you. So what do you call that person? So I said, a terrorist. And the case ended. And I was ready to deal with them. So it ended there. But that's a long story. But I would just like to thank everybody. I would like to thank her and thank Mrs. Mugere and everybody who has been watching our documentaries. We still have documentaries. We still do a lot of international news gathering and coverage. Thank you very much for humbling me.